Grass Valley Group did well enough that it soon became dominant in video production switchers. Very high-end equipment that allows all the complex video compositing and other effects in real time for sports and the myriad of other live programming. They were entrenched enough in that segment of the industry that when it came time for the original Star Wars film to blow up Princess Leia's home planet, the lever that did it was a Grass Valley 1600 switcher.
Commence primary ignition.
The thing that was of great satisfaction was when we began to see specifications coming in for equipment, and the statement in the specification shall be equal to or better than the performance in quality and performance in the Grass Valley Group equipment. That helped my ego considerably. Not that it needed much.
Grass Valley became dominant in switchers. A t-shirt might equate their first switcher, 1400, to the workhorse plane of old, the DC-3. The back would equate their offerings today to the latest 777 or 777. Well, just like Boeing, with worthy competitors like Airbus and others, Grass Valley today, still dominant in switchers, has worthy competitors in Sony, Ross, and others. By the way, Grass Valley inadvertently led, or at least accelerated, Sony becoming a competitor in video switchers. The group didn't stay independent. It made it 15 years on its own. Tektronix bought the company in 1974. Doc Hare didn't last long after that. Inventions didn't cease, but new ways of doing things, new philosophies, new people from the mothership all seeped in. Not that the company's culture didn't start to change before Hare left. A drive to unionize parts of the company left Hare with a slightly jaded view of his kingdom. Tektronix ran the company for the next 16 years. Many milestones and accomplishments marked that time. ABC still vectored Grass Valley with requirements for new products. A couple were revolutionary. A switcher called the 300 changed how video switching was done and greatly increased the capacity of the device. ABC got the company into the fiber business when TV folks barely knew what to do with the technology. But the network had ideas of its own. Like the 300, it had to do with Olympic coverage. The company pioneered a few notable advancements itself. One was called email, or effects memory. This allowed complex effects to be recalled quickly, back when 8-bit microprocessors weren't very capable or cheap.
Optional Master EMEM permits storage and recall of complete switcher setups or any combination of mix effects, including options such as quad split and Mark II digital video effects.
But Tektronix itself developed issues in the late 80s and into the 90s. Some were external. George Soros made a green mail run at the company. But Tektronix as a whole was playing in three different realms: its legacy test equipment arena, a gradually ascending printing market, and then there was the video division. It had made other bets, like computer terminals and workstations, back when those were a thing, and they were very bad bets. But by the 90s, video was becoming tougher and more confusing. Tektronix had a video division, of which the Grass Valley company was just a part. Tektronix itself made video test equipment and in the 90s introduced an early but highly successful video server.
The ability to simultaneously record and play back. Up to 4 audio channels per video channel. Analog and digital video I/O, giving you a built-in bridge to digital. A choice of compressed video format, MPEG or JPEG. All this for as little as $30,000. Perfect.
This led to the first of 3 attempts by the company to think that computer technology was ready to replace traditional video technology. All 3 attempts were premature. The group took its eyes off its main source of income for a while. Revenues suffered. This, among other things, got Tektronix to thinking about the future of the group. The company at that time was getting other things wrong. First, there were 2 types of video digital formats in play at the time: composite and component. Use your favorite search engine to look them up. The group bet on the wrong one early on. Second, Sony, who was used to creating markets, was pushing to launch HD television. Remember, Grass Valley was weaned on responding to customer demand, not creating it on their own. One of their main oracles at the time was still ABC. They had no interest then in investing in HD TV. Thirdly, as the turn of the century approached, the dreaded Y2K potential debacle loomed, and many broadcasters thought their future wasn't over-the-air HD, but everything through the web. Maybe today, but not then. Oh, by the way, the dot-com crash occurred. Tektronix split itself up and sold Grass Valley to its second buyer. That buyer only held the company for a couple years. While Tektronix never really tried to grow Grass Valley into a soup to nuts or camera lens to transmitter provider like RCA was, the third buyer did. Big time. This episode saw numerous companies from around the globe mesh together, scrambled a bit, and then reinserted together in various ways. While some of the Grass Valley upper command structure got spirited up to Oregon under Tektronix, under Thompson, the accounting was all done now in francs. The empire building went along until the financial crisis of 2008. Thompson reneged on some of its financial covenants, and the banks forced Thompson to divest. During that time, things that many in the industry held as absolutes fell. For example, you would never see anything with the Grass Valley name have a lens on it. Philips, as part of Thompson, made cameras. It had a long line of high-end cameras, starting with the one on the t-shirt here. It was introduced by Norelco in the mid-60s. Why was it branded Norelco, which was a division of Philips? It was short for North American Electronics Company. Back then, a company called Philco, an early television pioneer, was owned by the Ford Motor Company. Ford got the Federal Trade Commission to declare that Philips' name was too similar to Philco's. Philips had been cobbled up by Thompson, and when Thompson started selling things off, Philips went with the Grass Valley parts of the company. A point of interest. That Norelco camera show was known as the PC-70. It was the camera that prompted both ABC and CBS to commit heavily into color television in the 60s. Why that camera? RCA was the dominant color camera producer up until then. Although there were a few competitors like GE and Marconi, Norelco was far superior to everything before, including RCA's. By the way, a single color camera cost around $100,000 then. Yes, that's in 60s dollars.